With eBay Refurbished, you have a choice of refurbished qualities to best fit your budget. Certified refurbished items are restored by the manufacturer to like new for up to 50% off. This drill was barely out of the box. Soon it will be back to working like new. Here's how it works. Every item is carefully inspected. Any imperfections are fixed by the manufacturer or manufacturer-approved vendor. Then it's tested to make sure it's working perfectly. Once it passes inspection, it's given the verified stamp of approval. Then repackaged with new accessories and shipped to its ultimate destination. With Certified Refurbished, you can shop with confidence because all our manufacturers go through a rigorous vetting process. And every purchase comes with an award-winning 2-year warranty, a money-back guarantee, and hassle-free returns. That's what makes it the smarter way to shop for premium brands. eBay Refurbished. Like new products, better than new prices.
Well, there it is. First map between these two teams over on Fracture. Going in way of TSM, a strong victory and already changing things up a little bit from the last time these two teams met. Now, if M80 want a chance to be the top team in Group A, Dan, they got to be winning out the next 2 in a row.
And that's going to be interesting, right? Because this is what we were talking about during the cast. M80, they're used to going through 3 maps. It happens relatively often for them, so they're comfortable taking it to the long run. But TSM, I mean, what a performance. They definitely have a chance to close out the series, and it would be an insane upset with how good TSM has been looking. I think they really showed it on Fracture. And these two teams, they have one of the best Fractures that we have in Challengers overall. We got to see it with many different ideas, even with that M80 going for the change, going for that Sky instead of the KO. Both of them trying to adapt, playing to their strengths, but TSM just closing it out. And doing so, it felt like in the first half more than anything, where both the teams were really strong on that respective side, and TSM just got ahead but a little bit. Then they got the pistol, and it seems like it was game over then.
And so I'm starting to think with this Fracture first pick, this is obviously a map that M80 are starting to show weakness on, right? We've seen M80 bleed, and if it bleeds, you can kill it, and TSM did that, right? 13-6 is dominant here against the #1 team, and it makes me a little worried now, right? If you're M80, obviously we still have series to play, but I mean, do you keep allowing Fracture into the pool against teams and continue to ban Split and Lotus? I think it's a very scary prospect because it doesn't feel like they're banning Lotus and Split because they just don't want to show it yet, because they're allowing Fracture through, and we've seen that Fracture is not strong for them. So I'm a little worried after this first map, but now we go back to something, and maybe they are kind of investing in, we're good on every other map. So if we ban Split and Lotus, we'll take the loss on Fracture to win on Haven and Ascent. And I wanted to see these numbers. Unfortunately, they don't quite tell me what I wanted to see. Dryad, we had the kind of the question all year of, you know, Campeki stats rivaling Koala Noobs. And we didn't get the best showing from both of these players, but you do see Campeki a little bit higher up on the chart than Koala Noob in way of the stats that were put up for this player.
I feel like it's definitely a thing too with Koala Noob. When you're going up against Koala Noob, if you can shut Koala Noob down, you're going to have a lot better of a time. So at this point, M80 gonna have to look at going forward onto Haven, how Koala Noob can be enabled, and maybe keeping Koala Noob out of harm's way away from TSM as they're looking to slow and shut him down. Haven and Ascent, though, I feel like this is where we start to get into the gauntlet for TSM, because last time the two teams met, Dan, it was Haven and Ascent to start things off, and this is where M80 took that 2-0 win.
But it was in overtime, though, so that's one of the things to take into account for these two teams, how close it can really get in Haven. I think one thing that we have to give for M80 is, yes, they went for that wall and change instead of the KO having that Sky. I'm wondering if we're going to continue to see the small changes, because M80, they did talk about this after that first split. They said we might be seeing some or trying some different things. We have a lot of confidence that we can make it to playoffs already with all the points that they got, you know, making it far in the split one, winning the mid-season face-off. They are all set up essentially, so now they can play with different things, trying to see how the long run for them is going to look like.
I feel like this is the point here. I'm going to cut in real quick. This is where we'll see that change with our agent select. So I'm going to take my exit. I'm going to leave this over to you, Tanner, to break down.
Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, and thank you for cutting me off. Sometimes I just, you know,
He just
Like
talks.
I'm on the ball, you know. I just talk. I just go. I even said it during the break. I said, guys, sometimes I'm long-winded. I apologize. Sometimes I really do be doing the thing. And unfortunately, because of all of that, I don't even remember what I was going to talk about. So
That's awesome.
it's very unfortunate. But what I do know, what we can't talk about, and something I do have scribbled in my notes here, is this is New Haven for TSM. It's obviously the map is the same, but we get to see 7 on the duelist now. Corey on that, Sova, like we saw on their Ascent. So for M80 coming into this one, again, it's a different IGL. It's no longer having Hayes, it's Kempeki on the team, and it's a completely different thing. And the question that I have here, Dryad, is how does 7's duelist rival Koala, right? It's no longer the Kempeki Koala talk for me. It's now 7 on the Jet, Koala on the Jet. Who does it better?
Because 7 last week looked so good on this Jet. We were so excited about it because we always honestly had questions for Corey on this Jet, knowing that he was always more comfortable on the Raze. So these role changes look ideal now, putting Corey in a position where he's able to support his team a little bit more in the way that he's always done. But now playing so far back and leaving that space for 7 to create. So like you said, that duel is the one thing that you want to keep your eyes on. 7 against Koala Noob, and who is able to take that win against the Jet v Jet?
TSM starting on their strong side here on Haven. 7. Okay, we're about to find out just how strong 7 can be. He is on a solo mission. He goes right past 2 players, and they're expecting more behind him, but there's nobody. Unfortunately for TSM, 2 players already die as they take the C site. It was a lot of chaos out towards B. It was a scramble. Let M80 come out a player ahead.
This spike in the meantime for TSM is going to be planted. As the numbers might not be their way, but that space, like I said, created initially towards B, just to end up on that C side. Looking pretty good for TSM. Kempeki goes down. Corey does too. No way! GMD almost made it happen. 3 kills. The Tander gonna shut it down.
Wow, yeah, that got a little closer than it should have, but a really solid retake, and a player that we have kind of failed to mention, and I think Dust is, wherever Dust is at, he's feeling kind of this itchy feeling all over his body because something's not sitting right, and it's because we haven't mentioned EU as much as we should have, and a huge shock dart kill to even make that a bit more possible, right? He digs out that player default with shock darts, and then ultimately leaves GMD alone to fight back site. 4 players pushing in, right? You have another player there, you can play off a contact, and that round looks winnable for TSM. So shout outs to EU for getting that one done, but huge for M80. Again, back on a map that they're comfortable on, and they start on the right foot.
And even with a cool idea for TSM that we talked about starting towards that B side and also trying to push towards C, but now it's only trying to go for B. 7 gets stunned. Nismo gonna take care of it.
Yeah, just flooding in and being taken down. A right click that goes wide means Corey finds absolutely nothing but a bit of damage on the John QD. Nature is just a wandering alt orb here at this point, and we'll see who picks it up.
And the last one here for TSM, that being Nature. You know, one of the things as well that I find interesting about TSM is that they are a team that have always shown greatness. They won a match in that first split against the Guard, but during the mid-season, kind of falling short, right? Losing against Oxygen, losing against Moist. It's a team for TSM that have always seek consistency for this victories. They know what they're capable of doing. They know how good individually each one of them are, and it seems like even now they look solid with the changes that we already mentioned. And so it would be a statement that things have changed if they get to take this map against M80, against the #1 team that we have in Challengers.
Yeah, I think that mid-season face-off was the changes finally catching up to TSM. They came out of the gates hot with those changes and then slowly started to peter out. Now they've had some extra time, but it seems like the results, for the most part, have not changed as much here on Haven. M80 still up with a 2-round lead. Oof. And maybe a little disconnect there. Nebula Smoke actually blocks any angle that the drone could find. Corey clears out the close angle, sure, but Wallace still here on the long.
Potentially expecting Koalanu to be going for that forward position.
Oof, man, Koala has just been put in some awkward positions. He does bail himself out this time. Shock darts are out. Dash onto the site from 7. EU's still trying to help his team in way of utility. Only has one more to play with. And that one does find a bit of damage onto Kempeki. Will now tuck away and hope to survive as he's got that spike planted.
The retake, something that we saw a lot in the map number 1, is gonna have to be the case for M80 this third round. The buy isn't the greatest. No way!
Wow, Corey finds 3 up in heaven, but Xander still making it hurt. Drops the shotgun, picks up a rifle. Tap onto the smoke, or inside the smoke, but could not get there in time. Nature quicker on the trigger, TSM on the round, but talk about the heroics for Corey there.
And he doesn't have to be on the race. He's gonna do it to any character, any agent, he's ready for it. And that Sova's not gonna be an exception. 3 kills at the end. Make sure that there's no chance for M80 as they started to go for that defuse. They started to get for that space into sight. Very, very clean. And for the map number 1, the one on this side of M80, even on the second half, putting up a fight. Who was it? It was Xander. We've seen also some really good plays from him, especially today. He does not want to lose. He does not want to lose the advantage on Haven. And so you can expect him being one of the other players you need to keep an eye on. Individually, just so skilled.
And they spotted the op. A good discipline from TSM too to not be out in the open down C long with that drone still clearing things out. So with that, they'll threaten this B site nice and early. Turret there, Nano Swarm pop, so delay for just a moment for M80 as they look to rotate this way.
And the B side though, it's a lot more difficult to deal with, and the spike have yet to be planted. Because of that full delay that they had with the Killjoy utility. Finally, they go for the plant. It's a 5v5 retake. Allotted still has an operator. Look at what Corey is.
Perfect.
Oh, Corey with the rat strats going all the way around the world. Operator here, but 7 sits it down. Koala's gone. This retake for TSM. They're a player ahead as they look to play in the post. Updraft available. 7 in an awkward situation. Can't really get himself out of this position, but M80, they don't want to fish him out. They're going to back away and try and save.
Early call for that save. And Corey on this sofa, going for the lurk towards A side, manages to get one. It seems like that was, after the kill happened, that was the call for M80 to go for the save, to save these rifles into the next one. And for Corey, one of the things that he wasn't able to do so before, right? It's still rare to see the Sova going for the lurk, but it's something that at least is a possibility instead of when he was on the jet, when he was on the race. So bringing something new to the table, guaranteeing TSM are gonna keep up a close fight early on against M80 on their map pick.
No operator this time from Koala, but close to the blades. Looks like they want to put some investment on this one. No, instead he'll just cross sides, reveal. Cloudburst goes out. I mean, Koala, oh my goodness, wait, he's still not dealt with. Koala eventually finds one, make it. 2, he survives with 5 HP. And we traded back and forth as Nismo here to try and help his jet out. In some way, somehow, Koala has done the unthinkable.
No way, he just never dies. It seems like everybody thought he was dead after the spray inside of the Cloudburst. He was still alive, manages to get 2, turns things even for the 2 teams, and forces TSM to go for a rotate towards A side.
And that Nanoswarm just misses, so the 5 HP Koala can keep pushing forward. He's got 2 on the round. Nature will match it, though. Finally, end that reign of terror as Nismo left to pick up the pieces. All on his lonesome. Dodges out of that recon bolt. Nature on the swing. Nature's gone. Kempeki follows, and Corey not long for this world. Out comes the rolling thunder. Corey stunned up, taken down, and M80 have done it.
What a round, and M80 are gonna make sure they stay ahead here. 3 rounds for this squad, and Nismo taking care of that situation. Immediate call as well. Immediate decision making for this player, going for that rolling thunder and giving that eBay clutch.
Wow. I mean, craziest round?
Yeah, look at 7. He turns it around.
Like, yeah, what is going on here?
pretty sure it's one of those things where you're 100% sure you're if that player is down, the player is dead. And that wasn't really the case. Also, 7 had too many things to take care of. Crazy round, but M80 to get the best of it.
Give me those back.
He gets one there too. No way. And this is what TSM was fearing a couple of rounds ago. Going pushing forward because this is what he likes to do towards A long, going a little bit more aggressive, even and especially with the Blade Storm. It seems like Nature and GMD were gonna take care of it, but Noob now feeling himself a little bit more on this map number 2.
You are divided.
This guy still a problem. Eventually will get walled off though. Cosmic Divide makes Noob's job a little bit harder here. He does still, however, have the blades.
Spike
See how
planted.
far Corey looks to play after this plant because he's got a shock darts. His ultimate online. Kempke also having that rolling thunder could look to stall things. Meanwhile, 7 postured up aggressively here on the front foot. This drone should spot him though. Op shot taken. GMD's gone. 3 players only remain here for TSM. I talked about the post plant, but they might not have nothing. Xander, beautiful paranoia there. Kempke able to dash away, but jumps right into the welcome arms of Nismo. The rest of M80 here on the site will secure the round.
Good patience for M80. They wait out for the Cosmic Divide to go down. And that is a perfect opportunity. Also, really good idea because the only real difference that we're seeing between these two compositions is the Omen and the Astra on both sides. And Sander, I think on this Omen, he's able to play by himself a little bit more for those individual plays that benefit him so much. It really plays to his strength, as we saw in that map number 1, and now especially he can continue to see it for sure. But GMD trying to play for the team, the Astra Stars that allow for that rotation that gets forced for TSM, as we saw a couple of rounds ago. But an M80 that
Get out of my way.
starts to get ahead, and this is not what you want to happen. Blade Storm gonna get activated by 7.
Off your feet!
Right back to it on B. Blades in hand. Weapon now
Right
to be
click.
picked up. 7 survives. And this has been a solo mission for 7. Out towards B while the rest of the team looks to play C. Xander
Last player
ready for the players
standing.
inside the smoke. Nismo ready for the flank and deals with 7. But it has not been enough as Koala, the last one standing now. Finally,
planted.
the pistol round strat, it works here for TSM. Rifles in hand, but Koala Noob is here. And if he thought he was going to save, that does not seem to be the call just yet.
Scary because of the positioning. 1 is going to be towards Cubby. Has to be the swing at the perfect time from Kempke. Make sure that it doesn't turn into a 1v1.
Oh. There's a world where Koala does that. You expect Kempke to be on the swing, but if Koala's a second earlier with that tailwind able to dash away, that's a scary prospect, but huge pickup there from TSM. As I said, this round, it eventually does work, right? 7 up towards B. I believe it's Nature working through Garage and the rest of the team out towards Long. A lot of that is kind of, hey, 7, we need you to get their attention, so that way we can walk onto this B side and eventually crunch the players here. So it does work. The operator has been lost, so things looking up for TSM, although it round down.
Oh, and immediately Hunter's Fury getting used by EU. Answer right back by the Sova on the other side. Being forward, but EU gets the best of it early on, yeah.
Ooh, and do they know? Through all that chaos, they might not have heard Koala Noob jump all the way up into heaven. Nature... Oh, okay, he is going to clear this one. Not going to get the better of it this
Spike
time, though.
down
Waller
A.
rights his wrongs and finds that kill into the spike.
And everybody's gonna have to run back. That is the green light for M80 to get that space, but actually, you're gonna be playing it together. Have to draw now, have to invest that utility just to make sure nobody's gonna be up close for M80. And a very risky round, a very risky Hunter's Fury early on. We've seen it a couple of times by different teams throughout challengers. But it's a high risk, high reward, if anything. And GMD going down is just a perfect reward for M80.
And I wonder if that call was because Corey
30
threw
seconds
an
left.
early dart out towards A long, that same dart that he's been trying to reveal Koala with. So they see that dart and they say, hey, somebody's got to be here. Maybe we expect multiple and eventually get dealt with. Speaking of dealt with, 7 gone. That's the
Spike
operator. Another huge investment for TSM taken off the table. And Spike's planted, so some extra credits go their way, sure, but a 2v5 is a scary position to be.
But it is Korean Kenpeki.
That is true, but what do they have to work with? Fault line, shock darts, aftershock, couple of flashes.
Shock
And,
darts, yeah.
I mean, it seems like they're just playing
They're so far back,
to
yeah.
save. They planted the spikes and said, hey, we got the credits, sure, no problem. You guys can have the round. That is the strangest thing.
It really is, right? Usually we see it for the team trying to go for the retake, not for the attacking team in the post-one scenario.
Corey did get the op, so there is that. That's I guess
Yeah.
seems to be a pretty obvious. But yeah, they did not want to lose what they had, and I guess it does give them some extra time before calling this timeout to talk and try and get things situated. But a relatively close game, one that we were expecting M80 to definitely show up on more than Fracture.
Because of how good this team has looked in the past. They played M80. They have played this map so many times since that first split. 6 times that they've won, 1 time that they lost against Moist. But it's always this map where they like to dominate. They love being dominant against maybe the weaker teams, even a TSM that took them to overtime, but always making sure that it's gonna get closed out. And I feel like it goes back for TSM as they go into this timeout to how they get ahead. Now with Corey on this Sova, has been good for those multi-kills, has been good for that info that you mentioned early into the round. But it's going to depend on a little bit more if they want to shut down Koala Noob early on if they were doing less pressure. They have the right read in so many rounds. You know Koala Noob is going to be towards that A-long position, maybe even pushing forward. This time around, getting supported by everybody else.
Yeah, 4 players here. This worked last time for M80, but a lot of it was because Quality was allowed to survive into this cloud burst. This time he'll be dealt with. EU just on the other side, and Nature will find that kill. Expecting a player behind, and inside Cerebro, RTSM, they saw it all playing out in front of them, and they punish M80 for the play.
This is exactly what I was talking about, right? A really good read, knowing Koala Noob, it's more often than not going to be positioned towards long, and he likes to go aggressive. He likes to go for that aggressive push. And even with 4 players, each one of them gets shot down. Nismo here,
One enemy remaining.
Yeah, Nature quick to react.
And understanding too, all right, how many rounds have M80? When you give them space on one side of the map, they take it, right? We saw Koala Noob with an operator, mind you, push through A and go all the way out towards C long to try and retake that site after TSM had hit it. So they cut noise. They expect a player to be fighting back for that space. Nismo gets his one, but gets punished for it. With that, John Cutie, it just disconnected from the play completely, unfortunately. That'll get this lockdown involved, and we'll have to give this one up.
Especially after that timeout. For M80, you have to be expecting that aggression, and they were expecting it just one step ahead for TSM, and it was so good to see. These are the rounds where we get to see the level between these 2 teams. Some of the best that we have in that second split. 2 teams that have also looked better and better every time we get to watch them, especially for TSM. And they're gonna secure 1 more round here. They get to 4. And they're always 1 round behind on this map.
Just chasing that one. They haven't quite been able to get over that hurdle. As you've mentioned, they've got this read of, hey, we just need to figure out a way to deal with this aggression from Koala Noob, right? We need to find this guy, and we need to be ready for it. It's a lot of what I've seen from M80's Haven is they do like to just either continue to fight forward. They will be fast. They will be in your face. But they also do good to break up the pace, to kind of slow down and leave you guessing. If you give them a second to get set up, right? If you can let them open up and read through their playbook and look to hit a site together, you're going to have a bad time. So you need to take the fight to them. And it's much the inverse here as TSM are just ready for the aggression, ready to accept the fight. This time, however, Xander comes out on top. It's nature to fall nice and early, and TSM, they're flexing an idea of hitting this B site. They're slowed down by that nano swarm.
And it's a good idea here, right when QualiNoob gets tagged towards the C side. It was a green light, it was the call. You saw everybody moving for TSM to get the spike planted towards B.
And post-plant positions now set up. Rolling Thunder comes through, but unfortunately, it's just a bit short to find absolutely nobody. Xander here on the side, no, through the smoke will find a third. Koala for the fourth. And Koi now the last one standing, dodges out of the fault line, heaps of utility, tosses this way, a flash to follow. A defuse on the spike, 2 players come through, 2 more to worry about, but it's QualiNoob out from garage. EU goes down, but Koala's here to pick up the pieces, and M80 hang on for another.
And the read again now for QualiNoob was so good, knowing exactly where the solo was going to be located with the shock darts. Corey almost made that round happen all by himself. But M80 now 1 more round.
Thanks.
It feels like going back to this QualiNoob, playing around QualiNoob idea that TSM has is either going to be getting him taken down right at the beginning towards that A side, or once he gets spotted towards C, avoiding him as much as possible, forcing a retake scenario for M80 where QualiNoob, you know he's going to have that operator. And for that round, it almost was possible, but yeah, really good read from M80. And for TSM to slow down things just a little bit.
On Kempeki, this is not the man that you want to be posted up here. He's got the spike in hand and 2 players walking down. Koala will just help Xander get deposited here. I'll go back to the C site and 7 deals with him.
You should
Oh, it's so
run.
clean. The swing as well, knowing where this was going to be located as the lockdown is going to get activated too for TSM. Really good picks early on. It seems like
Spike planted.
not only you have to shut down this Jet, but this Omen for Xander. And they do so.
Wow. And again, another round where M80 just do not feel comfortable retaking this one here. This is much like we saw in Fracture, where I believe same scoreline, 6-4. We're creeping towards the end of the half. John Cutie still sitting on this lockdown, hasn't been able to get it involved, but they would rather take the percentage play. They'd rather try and have, you know, numbers in their favor, or maybe not be a 3v5 with the Cosmic Divide to work through, to be able to use this lockdown. So they'll hang on to it for another round. They'll concede 1 more over to TSM, and we inch closer to a 6-6 half.
The white swings against this Jet have been so good just to get the early presence. And there was a lot going on for TSM. That lockdown from nature, those early kills. And so M80 with a good call here to go for that save. Are we gonna be seeing that lockdown from John Cutie, hoping to slow things down for this attacking side? But Corey, because John Cutie has been holding on to his ultimate for 3 rounds, Corey has been getting those kills, has been getting those chances to get the Hunter Sphere, to shut it down and still be able to push forward. So it's all about the timings here for M80 and the aggression here that they want to bring.
Yep, aggression, paranoia right behind it. Koala allowed to survive, and he cuts his losses, takes a bit of damage, but backs away, still has blades in hand. And the rest of the team, look at this, how quick everybody's out this way, and TSM buy out the lockdown.
And as the lockdown waste a little bit more time for TSM, everybody has to back up, everybody has to go for that rotation. That's so the same thing as what M80 is bringing to them. 3 players are already here. There's still so much time, 1 minute. TSM could rotate again once they spot all the players here.
Koala tucked away perfectly behind the aftershock. This could be just their undoing here, not expecting him. Does find his 1 before eventually going down. Kempeki waltzes onto the site and will find John Cute as EU works his way through. He's solo, but still finds one as the aftershock looks to delay. Kempeki low in HP. Corey just as low in Nismo.
Spike planted.
Makes quick
One
work of that
enemy
one.
remaining.
Now it's all up to GMD as he looks to go aggressive as the player in the drone. Was EU a headshot through the wall, but GMD just does not have enough in the tank. A 1v3 was too tall of an ask. He loses the 1v1, and M80 secure. Better half the side.
A 7-5, pretty good for M80. Especially for this last round. They had finally that lockdown to invest. They wasted time, and It seems like it was gonna be the call for the rotation, but it was already too late. And the patience for Qualinoob paying off for that 1 kill. Making sure that TSM don't really get comfortable. Don't make the score even.
Is it? Man. Koala just allowed to survive in a couple of rounds that were so pivotal for M80. That last one being huge, dodging out on that aftershock, and eventually, in just finding 1 kill, it's just something that Koala should not have been able to do. It would have made it so much easier for TSM, but that's the M80 way. So now 2 rounds ahead are M80s. They jump into their pistol round, and this is where they want to be. 2 rounds ahead, and they get to attack now. This looks good for M80.
But it's gonna get slowed down. At least that push from Garage. Qualinoob though, gonna take care of Corey.
Ooh.
And TSM answer right back.
Yeah, and this is what I was saying for M80, right? If you're TSM on this defense, you just have to fight forward, right? You have to be aggressive against this aggressive team. M80 sometimes they fumble inside the scramble, and that's exactly what happens here. They were so ready for this pistol round, this strat inside Garage. It works beautifully, but M80, you can't count them out just yet. Nismo and John Cutie still alive, and we've seen them pull out these miracle plays.
It's a 2v4 though, a lot more difficult to pull off for this round. Specifically, good for 1.
B.
As Nature goes down, it's a 1v3. John Cutie gonna go for that rotation, leaving that B side, going for the spike planted on A.
And, I mean, now where do you play here if you're John? You have a Nano Swarm to work with. Players are now heard. Turd also reveals that information, and
Turret down.
he's going to play the smallest of angles that he's been allowed here inside short.
Yeah, you know exactly where he's gonna be. 7. Gonna be good for 3 on this pistol round as TSM. They make it to 6. And the idea for the aggression of M80, it was good on towards Garage. But, okay, you shut down Corey. You didn't expect anybody else to be towards window, and that's the perfect opportunity for 7 to do just this, to swing and get a little bit of crossfire with the player on C-Link. Kind of one step ahead, once again, is TSM on the mental games when it comes to the aggression. That you said, both of the teams are trying to match up.
You cannot give... If you give M80 any amount of space for free, not only do they take that space, but then they'll just find you. They will hunt you down on your site, and they will take it from you. You have to fight them forward. So we'll see if anything changes here. A bit more relaxed RTSM this time around. They play safe here. 2 players out towards long. Drone spot a handful. 7 to spot a few. Unfortunately, could not capitalize on a kill, though.
You know, he's gonna have a Phantom too, but the damage... M80 is gonna back up very, very quietly. Haven't spotted anybody towards B. TSM trying to play all together.
Bot coming back.
GMD with the star. We'll be able to use... Okay, never mind. Just plops that one out there. Doesn't want to give up anything. I thought he was going to play the jiggle until he saw a bit more. Fault line goes out. Shots to land.
No way.
Koala falls, but there's still good damage on TSM. 2 players are low.
It's so close.
I mean, the back and forth continues. Some way, somehow, M80 continue to find kills, even with that paranoia just going a bit wide. But at the end of the day, 7, the only one to fall, and TSM, pistol round and anti-eco, and they've got us all tied up.
And with a bias, well, or lack of buy, if anything, that M80 had, you know they had to push towards that A link. So on the other side, TSM super patient on it, waiting for exactly this to happen. And yeah, they get flash, but they get the kills at the end. So it all goes their way. 7-7. And this is one of the things that we mentioned, right? TSM was always 1 round, maybe 2 rounds behind. They make it close, but can they make the conversion?
This is where it gets really telling, right? Finally, M80 have rifles in hand. This is where we're going to start to see these setups. It's usually, when they're hitting this A site, they usually do it with 5, but they're giving us a different look here.
And 7 is going to push forward, doing a little bit of what we saw in the first half for Qualinoob. Along with Corey, that's scary to deal with.
Oh, GMD spotted, almost taken down, forced to use that nebula smoke as well. They're on that seaside. Xander ready for some aggression here. 2 Spectres are there,
Spike
and
down, attack
Xander
respawn.
is no longer. Spike falls. The rest of M80 are here to pick it up and look to force Corey off this position. He's all the way down towards Stewart. He's hearing all these footsteps. They know the rotation's coming this way, but Koala goes huge out towards mid, and now the possibilities are endless for M80.
And as everybody seemed like was running it down towards A side, once they got the kill on Koala Noob, or once they got the kill onto 7, Koala Noob was waiting patiently for exactly that push to happen from the defense. So well read once again. In a 2v4, Kempeki
left.
and Corey. The last one's alive, and the spike gonna get planted towards C.
And if Koala's... Now, it's still relatively early to tell here on the attacking side, but if Koala is struggling to find these entries and win these early fights, I love this look of, okay, Koala no longer has to be our spearhead. We can leave him as our deposit, and we know he's going to win out these fights that are way more percentage than, you know, your duelist dashing into a cloudburst and then coming out and hoping that you're on the right angle. So I like this. You have 5-star players for M80, and they're really using everybody. It's not just Koala here to be, you know, that early entry, that first blood machine, and then scooping up the round after that.
And that's a cool thing about M80. One of the things that make them the strongest team in challengers right now is that anybody, individually and even with these stages, they can be the spearhead. It doesn't always have to be Koala Noob. It can be any of them. Sander especially, I feel like, has come up on top in so many crucial moments for the squad. And so has been Nismo.
Yeah.
In situations like this one, when it comes to a trade, to make things even, to get that call and give that space for M80, everybody's so aware of these situations.
Signs of life there. You give M80 rifles, they'll find a way to win the round. That one, they do so handedly. Rifles still available for TSM, I think.
Revealing,
you know, a glaring rifle, that scoped weapon in the hands of 7, but for now, it seems to be on the wrong side of the map.
So nobody's going to be pushing forward on that A long for the defensive side of TSM. Rather playing back, playing a little bit more reactive to what M80 like to do, especially because M80 on these attacking rounds, they like to play it slow. One of the slower teams that we have with how patient they are. As the operator's going to get spotted, yeah, immediate call to fall back.
And much like you want to avoid Koala, M80 want to avoid 7 with the operator. And I guess even more so because your smokes are on the opposite side of the map. Xander could not help you clearing or blocking some of those angles. Good fault lines exchanged, though. TSM seemingly having a read. They want to hit this site, maybe bend the footsteps. That would have told them. 2 players get fished out here. Koala deep up here. Flashes are there. Both GMD and Corey run right into the welcome arms of John Cutie, and this 8 belongs to
30
M80.
seconds left.
And the idea was so good with GMD and Corey, right outside of short, trying to watch at different angles. Both of them get taken care of by John Cutie as his lockdown gets activated, and the chances slowly fade away on this round by TSM for this retake. They don't have the numbers. They lost 2 crucial players for that info, for that space that they needed to take.
And this economy's, it's scary good for M80, right? For TSM, because they can get hunted down. They're not safe in any of these positions. If they wanted to, they could look to strip these weapons away, but it does look like they want to hang on to their own. It makes sense if you're trying to get an op to the attacking hands of Koala. Just keep bolstering. So another 2-round lead here for M80. They handedly secure that A site. They forced a save from TSM, and they're a few rounds away from closing this one out.
But remembering, again, last time these 2 teams faced each other on Haven, it ended up going overtime. It ended up going as far as it gets with a 14-12 lead for TSM as they close it out. So there's a possibility to see that again, even with the changes. I feel like TSM is just looking better and better the more that we get to see them. But an M80 that doesn't really care too much about that. And that's something that the players talked about. they feel like the score should be about the same. They should still get away with a series victory. It's got to be taken step by step. The first one is taking the lead, closing this map.
I'm trying to think back to, it may have been G2, right? Another strong team we expected to do well against M80, that we're expecting an aggressive, in-your-face playstyle all the time, but M80 did not give that to them. And we're seeing it again. M80 changed it up, and TSM,
Corey.
well, okay, Corey finds 2 huge kills there, so the point that I was making is now moot. As another kill comes through, and only 1 remains. That can be EU here with 70 HP. He'll try and fight his way out of the situation. It's an operator and a stinger just outside the site to try and retake here for TSM. A tap on the spike, but no commitment just yet. EU goes on the hunt, and Corey secures a 3rd. And the round belongs to TSM. And all that mumbo-jumbo I was saying about TSM not being ready for the slow play style, that was just, as I said, mumbo-jumbo, I guess.
Just a really good reaction. Really good round by Corey. Gets 2 with the Hunter's Fury right away.
Deleted.
And knowing that there was going to be a delay, so it was a good setup, right? When we get to see the Nano Swarm right at the choke. So you know the only one that's going to be in early on is going to be Koala Noob. Inside of the smoke, not too much that you can do about it, but what Corey can do is make sure that the players trying to push forward late are going to get killed, and he does just that. Massive round for TSM.
Yeah, and Koala Noob just a bit better. 7 gives up all of that angle, and Koala Noob punishes Corey. Now gonna try his hand down here, and it seemed like they were ready for it. Aftershock goes out, shock dart in hand, drone to run him down, and Corey, no way he's long for this low. Right, Blazer online. He's in an awkward spot. He's gonna try and sneak his way out, but he's the only one here for now. Koala's on the site. He made it atop the box and survives. He almost gets 1, but eventually goes down. And all things are right in the world.
That would have been crazy for Corey to be on top of the box, no longer stunned as he was backside and get the kills. But no, Midi makes sure that there's no chance that's gonna happen, as Nature and GMD are left behind on this round.
Placing sentry.
While 7 wanted to get an early pick, wanted to get that space, holding short, and Koala Noob expecting it fully, goes for the call, goes for the blades as well. You're hunting for it.
Yeah, when allowed to save, I mean, we just saw it in that last round, right? They brought in Sticks and Stones, that being TSM, but they made it work, and they take the round away from M80. M80 are saying, hey, we cannot just continue to let these rifles end up in their hands. And because of that, Nismo gives up his life. Koala has to reinvest in full shields, and there is still a buy around this TSM squad.
There's still a chance for TSM on this defense, but it seems like in a lot of these rounds, they're trying to play more reactive. As we got to see one of the plays for GMD and Corey just outside of short. And it was the same for 7, going for that swing, trying to find something, but completely expected. Now he goes back to this A site. This is a long position. And M80, again, expecting it fully.
Yeah, M80 are really keeping TSM guessing.
Just playing so far
Placing
back.
swarm grenade.
Waiting for this
Swarm
aggression
grenade.
that TSM has already shown. It has already brought to the table. If they wanted to push A. They're going to keep one of the players watching there as they try to get more space
Enemy mark.
towards the garden.
And this is a different M80 that I had written my notes on. I talked about that flexing this beat push early in the game. But it's a little bit later here that we finally get to see it. Aftershock will delay for a moment. 35 seconds on the clock, so still options for M80. They do settle here and getting that spike planted on B.
And it seems like that wasn't that initial plan at all, but they have to respect that jet towards the A side, and so they have to play back. Quality ready for it too. Nature goes down.
Nature fallen. Cosmic Divide here, though, so the players off the site won't really be able to help. Seven comes around with the blades. They all go wide. He's got one left in the tank. Nope, make it two, but he eventually goes down. And because of the Cosmic Divide, everybody's just still on site for M80. This is seemingly an impossible retake. Campeki, the only player close to this one, and he's going to try and back away. He does get spotted. Knife out, leaps around the corner. Will hope to take somebody with him, but Nismo won't allow him to take his rifle. Core MGMD forced to save once more here for TSM. M80 find an 11.
And taking that stronger lead is M80. But for TSM as well, a round that was so difficult because we don't recently get to see a lot of the plants coming and ending up on that B side, right? Usually just either you're forced to go into that B side, like it seemed like at the beginning of the round, or it's a situation where the defense is already going for the lure, going behind, trying to get that space. But with a Cosmic Divide, with that space as well, and that first go for Koala Noob, there was no chance, it felt like, for TSM. As they take a timeout, see if they can at least take it to overtime, turn things around. Just like they were able to do last time they went into this map.
Three rounds, the deficit. We talked about how Seven's bragging power, Seven's duelist, will shape up against Koala Noobs, and we kind of have our answer here. Koala,
yeah,
a bit more potent. Still opportunities for Seven, but also a member that we mentioned was Campeki, and you know, his stats rivaling Koala Noobs without having played Koala in Split 1, and now we're seeing it here, and unfortunately, Campeki's been having a pretty rocky game. Hopefully, if not for himself, he can continue to find ways to get his team into the mix, and it does look like the play is out towards long. Campeki and Seven working hand in hand. Recon Bolt just behind it, but nobody's home.
The deep smoke towards A long, just to do exactly this. All 5 players of M80 pushing here. The Kojo utility is gonna slow it down, but it hasn't really worked out just to hold it for TSM.
Yuta drone. Nature spotted. Fault line at his feet. GMD blinded up by the paranoia. Out and back sight goes Koala Noob. He finds 2 for himself. Corey gets one back. Gives up the site. 3 players remain. An aftershock to stall the push. And Nismo will get that spike planted.
Koala Noob plays so fast. Was able to catch GMD and Nature off guard, and with the entrance or the execute that M80 have, they're just so clean. Xander gonna take care of 2 more. It seems like there's no chance for this TSM squad on that round.
Match point.
M80, they make the 12. 1 away from pushing us to a 3rd map.
I wonder if they're gonna be kicking themselves. Please take another look. GMD was just coming out of paranoia, so he might not have even heard that tailwind out and over the top. Obviously, Seven does what he can here at the end, but needed 4 of 4, only finds 2 of 4. And what I was about to say is Campeki had a flash going into that 1-2-3 swing, or that 3-2-1, but hung on to it. And because of that, Xander, clear vision, able to find both of those kills, leaving only 1 surviving. But speaking of Xander, Xander's down. Yeah, we go back to the aggression for TSM, and it's working once more.
But only for a couple trades. It's a 3v3. It was 3 players pushing A on the defensive side. And Becky, risky position here. Doesn't matter. He's gonna get you back up immediately.
I mean, this is still so scary. Walla walks up, finds Campeki, takes him down. Rolling Thunder will be available next round if there is a next round.
If there is, it's a 2v2 lockdown. Gonna get activated right away by Nature, and they're gonna have to wait for this a little bit longer. Even then, with this lockdown, the positionings here for M80 are not gonna be bad at all. Even Koala waiting for a little bit longer.
Ooh, and they might like to go aggressive here. There's a lot on the shoulders of John here as the solo player. Nanoswarms used, turrets are down, but 1 is gone. Now both available to fight here as they push on forward.
Last
John Duty
player
cuts them
standing.
both down, and M80
Attackers
get it
win.
done here on Haven, and they give us a set.
For the second half, it just felt like there was no chance for TSM. The quality noob that we talked about, that we always mentioned, was there, was online and ready to take those fights, those duels. Like I said, the question that we had between Seven and Koala Noob, it does get answered at the end with a Koala Noob that was always ahead, going so aggressive. Even when we got to see this A execute, that is so clean for M80. This is why they have the best Haven in Challengers. Only lost it once, but have won it 7 times. They go into this map every chance they can.
Yeah, and this time, more of a statement made against TSM on this map. Said, we don't care about the changes that you've made. From 14 to 12, now 13 to 8. M80 get it done, and they give us another look, right? We can completely erase Fracture from our minds because Haven and Ascent still existed in the pool. Haven and Ascent are the maps that M80 beat TSM on the last time they faced in Split 1. It was a long time ago. Things looked different for TSM, but nothing changes here for M80. They get it done in map 2. They force us out to a map 3, which will be Ascent right after this.